Very good morning, students. I hope you all are fine. Today I'll explain two topics in business studies which are under the first topic, history of trade and commerce. After completing these 2 points, our first topic, history of trade and commerce, will be completed. So here we start with the first one, position of Indian subcontinent in world economy. Yes, what was the position of India in world economy? Now here points are divided as per different time period. The first one is about the time between 1st and 7th centuries. India was largest economy of the ancient and medieval world, controlling about one third and one fourth of the world's wealth. The country was referred as Swaran and Swarandeep and writings of many travelers. Now we are talking about the time period between 1st and 7th century. At the time, India was largest economy of the world. Even if we consider the entire world's economy, the one third to one fourth part was in India. Yes, and many foreigners who traveled India, who visited India, they have mentioned about this thing in their books. Yes, they have referred our country as Swaran Bhumi and Swarandeep. Yes, so India was very prosperous. It had largest economy of the world. Now the second one is about the period which is pre-colonial period. This period is before British rule. Yes, British colonial rule, 1858. Now what was position of India at that time? Let's understand. The pre-colonial period in Indian history was an age of prosperity of Indian economy and made the Europeans embark great voyage to discovery. They soon realized the reward of trade in exchange of gold and silver. Now here we are talking about the period before British rule. At that time India was very prosperous. Yes, even our prosperity, our nation's prosperity made Europeans to start a great journey towards discovery. Yes, they have started the great journey of discovery and they realized that it was beneficiary to trade with our country, and soon they realized that it was great to trade with India. Yes, so before British rule our India was very prosperous. Then third, despite of growing commercial sector, India was far behind Western Europe in technology, innovation and ideas. As we have learned in about 2 points that India was prosperous. Yes, it had largest economy of the world. Then also India was far behind than Western Europe. Yes, in which areas? Technology, innovation and ideas. So here India was lacking in these three areas. There might be some reasons. Let's understand. It was due to increasing control of East India Company causing lack of freedom. So after British rule, after 1858, British rule, East India Company was started growing their roots in India. So that leads to lack of freedom. Indians were not free to implement their own ideas, their creativity. Yes, so these three areas were not developed. Then second reason, no occurrence of agriculture or scientific revolution. There was no development or no revolution in field of agriculture or scientific area, yes, or space and all. So that leads to less development in technology, innovation and ideas. Then third, limited reach of education to the masses. At that time education sector was not developed, so many people were illiterate. Yes, so that leads to less development in some areas. All these made India a country which was prosperous but with people who were poor. As we have learned that India was prosperous, but due to these reasons there was no development in such areas and it leads to poverty. Yes. Then fourth, the British Empire began to take roots in India in the mid 18th century. The East India Company used revenues generated by our province for purchasing raw materials, spice and goods. This led to stop of inflow of foreign exchange. Now here we are talking about mid 18th century, when we were under the control of British rule. Yes, at that time what was the situation? The East India Company were using our revenues to purchase raw materials, spice and goods. We were selling to Britishers. Yes, we were thinking that British currency will come in India, but what they were doing, they were using our currency to purchase our raw materials, spice and goods. Yes, this lead to stop of inflow of foreign exchange. So we were expecting that we will earn foreign currency, but as Britishers were using our revenues to purchase raw materials, spice and goods, so that leads to stop of inflow of foreign exchange. Then fifth is connected to the fourth one. This changed the condition of Indian economy from being an exporter of processed goods to the exporters of raw materials and buyers of manufactured goods. Now this condition leads to the position where India was not exporting the processed good, the finished goods. Yes, as Britishers were purchasing raw materials. Yes, so India was not able to produce goods and export it. India was exporting raw material and India has to purchase manufactured goods from foreign currency. So this was all about the position of Indian subcontinent in world economy. I hope this topic is clear to you. Now after this situation, how India begins to re-industrialize. Yes, how India begins to rebuilding. After the independence, the process of rebuilding of economy started. When India started centralized planning. After independence, what India has started? The centralized planning. Yes, all the plans were prepared from the central government. Yes, for the development of entire India. The first point is 5-year plans was implemented in 1952. Due importance was given to establishment of modern technological and scientific institutions, space and nuclear programs. Now the first motive of India was develop such sectors like technology, scientific institutions, space and nuclear program. Yes, and that was the major point covered in 5-year plan. The second, despite these efforts, Indian economy could not develop at rapid pace due to lack of capital formation, rise in population, huge expenditure on defense and inadequate infrastructure. Now as India has started rebuilding, industrialization, then also India was not able to develop at rapid pace, at speedy way. Yes, India was not developing. There were some reasons like lack of capital formation, as poverty was the major issue. So India was not having that much fund to re-industrialize. Then rise in population. Yes, at that time this was the major issue. The more population and less funds, less income. Then huge expenditure on defense. They have to invest lot of money for defense and all. Inadequate infrastructure. Even if we talk about infrastructure part, India was far behind than other countries. As a result, India relied heavily on borrowings from foreign sources and finally agreed to economic liberalization in 1991. As condition was not favorable, yes, India was not having that much funds to rebuilding, to reindustrialize. So what was the option? To borrow from foreign countries, yes. So that leads to liberalization in 1991, where under liberal rules India can borrow funds from foreign countries. Then fourth, the Indian economy is one of the fastest growing economy in the world. Yes, if we compare with the other countries, India's economy is fastest growing economies. Rising incomes, savings, investment opportunities, increased domestic consumption, and younger population ensures growth for decades to come. As we have learned that how India had started rebuilding, reindustrialization, so that was kind of signal that in future India will develop. Yes. Then sixth, the high growth sectors have been identified which are likely to grow at rapid pace world over. Some areas which were supposed to grow at rapid pace were identified. Then seventh, the recent initiatives of government such as Make in India, Skill India, Digital India and rollout of foreign trade policy is expected to help economy in terms of exports and imports of trade balance, as it was very imbalanced situation. So such initiatives were taken from government like Make in India, Skill India, Digital India, which will help to get balanced situation. Now here we will study about Make in India. Make in India is an initiative launched by the Government of India on 25th September 2014 to encourage national as well as multinational companies to manufacture their products in India. As we were importing number of goods from foreign countries, yes, so India took initiative for Make in India products, yes, which encourage companies to start producing in India, yes. The major objectives of Make in India initiative are job creation and skill enhancement in 25 sectors of the economy, which are as follows. Now the major objective was job creation, as unemployment was the issue. So for that, if industries established in India, so that leads to employment generation, yes. So this was first objective. Then second is skill enhancement. If industries established in India, yes, so that will lead to skill enhancement in Indian people, yes, they will learn new skills. Now here are some sectors, 25 sectors which were covered in this initiative. Just go through with these areas. I hope both the topics are clear to you. If you have any doubt, feel free to contact me. Write both topics in your notebook and send images on WhatsApp.